Hello and welcome back to the Growing Bonds podcast. I'm Roberta Bartolo, and today we're diving into a topic that is so important in parenting, one that shapes not just our children's confidence, but also their sense of self. Today, we're talking about the inner critic, that little voice inside all of us that either lifts us up or holds us back. As parents, we have an incredible opportunity. We can consciously shape the inner voice our children will carry with them for a lifetime. The way we correct them, the way we guide them, and even the way we handle our own mistakes. All of it contributes to the kind of inner dialogue they will develop. And here's something really interesting. As I've worked on creating a gentler, more encouraging inner critic for my children, I've noticed something beautiful happening. My own inner critic has softened. As I teach them self compassion, I'm learning to be more compassionate with myself too. So today, let's explore how we can consciously cultivate a kind yet constructive inner voice for our children and in turn for ourselves. That voice in our heads, it starts forming early. Think about this. Have you ever caught yourself saying something to your child that sounds exactly the way your parents spoke to you? The inner critic is shaped by our early experiences, what we hear from caregivers, teachers, and the world around us. Some of us grow up with an inner voice that says, "That's not good enough. You always mess things up. Why can't you be more like your younger sister?" Other children grow up with an inner voice that says, "It's okay to make mistakes. Let's learn from this. You're capable. You can figure this out." And the difference, it's us, the parents, the caregivers. We get to decide what kind of voice our children internalize. So let's get into the how. How do we shape a positive yet realistic inner voice in our children? First off, the power of words and tone. This is something I'm incredibly conscious of in my daily parenting. I know how easy it is to get caught up in the rush of the day, getting out of the door on time, finishing homework, cleaning up messes. But I also know that the way I speak to my children in these moments will shape the way they speak to themselves one day. So, for example, instead of saying, "Hurry up, we're going to be late," I try to say, "Let's do our best to be on time." The first phrase carries pressure, stress, and a subtle message of, "You're not fast enough." The second one emphasizes effort and teamwork. And you know what? It also helps me. When I refine the way I speak, I feel calmer and my own inner voice becomes less harsh. And just like the way we frame challenges can shape our children's inner voice, the way we respond to their mistakes does too. But let's be real, accidents happen, and how we handle them teaches our kids how to handle themselves when things go wrong. You know how kids are: spilled milk, broken toys, messy rooms, it's all part of the package. And honestly, in the past, I used to get frustrated. I would react with an, "Ugh, not again" kind of energy. But over time, I realized something. How I respond in these small moments is shaping my child's inner voice. So now I keep it simple. When something goes wrong, I say, "It happens." And then I pause and I let the moment breathe. Sometimes my son even repeats it back to me and we share a little smile. That tiny shift turns an "oh" into something lighter. Then, instead of dwelling on the mistake, I add, "Let's see how we can fix this." And here's the thing, it's not just for them. This practice has changed me too. Every time I say "it happens," I feel my own frustration soften. I've started noticing all the times I used to be hard on myself over little things. Now, just like I do with my kids, I remind myself mistakes don't define us. We can always figure it out. Everything we say to our kids matters. But what's just as important, the way we talk to ourselves. Because before we know it, the voice we use on ourselves becomes the one they use on themselves. That's the mirror effect. Like, have you ever dropped something and immediately gone, "Ugh, I'm so clumsy"? It seems like nothing in the moment, but guess what? Our kids pick up on that. And before we know it, they're saying the same thing about themselves. But here's the shit. What if instead we said, "Oops, that was unexpected. No problem, I'll clean it up." Same situation, completely different message. Now, instead of learning that mistakes define them, they learn that mistakes are just moments, nothing more. And I've noticed something interesting. When I'm gentler with myself, my kids are gentler with themselves too. The way I speak to myself sets the tone for how they'll talk to themselves one day. It's a powerful reminder that our own inner voice doesn't just stay inside, it echoes. So, what are some actions you can do starting today? Here are some simple shifts that can make a big difference. Model self compassion. When you make a mistake, say out loud, "That's okay, I'll do better next time." Reframe negative narratives. When your child says, "I can't do this," try responding with, "You can't do it yet. Let's figure it out together." Validate feelings without labeling. Instead of saying, "You're being too sensitive," try, "I see that you're feeling upset. Want to talk about it?" Teach problem solving instead of guilt. Try to reframe, "Look at this mess. What did you do?" into something, "Wow, this is messy. Let's clean it up together." Encourage self talk that builds confidence. We've all been there. When something feels tough, it's easy to shut down. But what if instead we could help our kids develop an inner voice that cheers them up? Simple phrases like, "I am learning," "I can ask for help when I need it," "I can figure things out," can make all the difference. So let's come back to that question. What kind of inner critic do you want your child to grow up with? As parents, we hold so much power, not just in what we say, but in how we respond to life. And here's the bonus: as we build a kinder, more constructive inner voice in our children, we transform our own. I invite you to try one small shift today. Maybe it's pausing before you correct. Maybe it's changing how you talk about mistakes. Or maybe it's simply being more mindful of your own inner critic. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Send me a message or share your experiences on Instagram. And if this episode resonated with you, please do share it with a friend who might need to hear this reminder. Thank you for listening to the Growing Bonds podcast. Until next time, keep nurturing those bonds within your family and within yourself.